I'm going to go over the exact tech stack you need to run your fully remote cleaning business. And I'm doing this based off of my experience of doing the same. So in case you're just tuning in, my name is Neel. I run a company called MaidThis Franchise, which is a fully remote cleaning franchise focused on residential cleaning as well as Airbnb cleanings. Been running my business remotely for about 9 years, been traveling for about 7 years since I quit my day job, and traveled across around 50 different countries and ran my local business completely remotely. The only way that's possible is with a really tied together tech stack. The way the industry has developed over the last few years, there's so many pieces of technology and software available to you to run your local business fully remotely. We've talked about this a lot in this channel, and I want to go over the exact tech stack we use at MaidThis to help you start your own remote local cleaning business or any other type of remote local business and travel the world and be able to run it on autopilot. Basically, I use this exact tech stack, and I started it while growing and currently working about 5 hours a week simply because I'm able to automate a lot of things. I'll go over exactly what to do. There's multiple pieces of what we're going to talk about here. The first piece is finding your core piece of software. The core piece of software is where you're going to be able to take bookings, dispatch crews, just kind of manage a lot of the inflow and outflow of actual business. So that's the core piece. Once you have the core piece down, then you go to the spoke software systems. And the spoke software systems are things that you would use to make the service easier to actually run on autopilot, to help scale without needing to hire a bunch of bodies. And that's the two kind of things that you need to be thinking about. So first, I'm going to go over the core piece of the core software you actually need to have in order to run your business. So let's dive into it. And MaidThis Franchise, we use a software system called Launch 27. Launch 27 is a cleaning specific software system. I know people in other industries use it as well, but for the most part, I would recommend using it if you're getting into residential home cleaning. There's other softwares I'm going to talk about which service the same niche, but here's the common characteristic of all of them, including Launch 27. They have an online booking form, and I'm able to charge the customer through the booking a CRM. Those are the key characteristics. There's a lot of software which has existed for 10, 20 years, but they'll like send the customer an invoice, they have to pay you back, and there's a lot of other manual processes needed. I want to eliminate all of that, right? If I want to run my business in autopilot, things need to be running automatically with technology, and that's where this comes into play. So I like Launch 27 for that reason. It's very easy to use. User interface is clean. So when I onboard a new team member, they kind of get it immediately. It's very simple, and it does simple things which work, right? It automates quote sending. It automates sending out the emails to the crews. It lets us take bookings from customers over the phone. It lets the customers book over the website. It just does a lot of things which makes our life easier, right? So that's what I like a lot about Launch 27. The other piece of core software I'd recommend if you're considering different ones is Bookingkoala. Bookingkoala is newer to the market, and they made a lot of headway as the best alternative to Launch 27. They focus on a couple niches. A large portion of their audience is geared towards residential cleaning. Another large chunk is actually geared towards mobile car detailing, funny enough. So a lot of people use it cross industries. It's geared again towards, in my opinion, remote local models or any home service niche, right? That's what Bookingkoala and all these different software systems I'm talking about are geared towards. So the main benefits of Bookingkoala are the same as Launch 27 in my mind. They have an easy to use online booking form. You could actually integrate it on your website. The thing I like about Bookingkoala a little bit better than Launch 27 is you can actually set up a custom multi-step form. So Launch 27, right out the gate, right when you buy it, has just one form which a customer could book online for their service. But Bookingkoala lets you develop a multi-step form. Now we simply use Launch 27, but then coded a multi-step form. So there's multiple ways to do it. But that's one benefit I like of Bookingkoala, and they seem to be getting a lot of business right now, right? So if you're starting a remote cleaning business, Bookingkoala is a place a lot of people are flocking to at the moment. Another one which I like is called ZenMaid. ZenMaid is a service, as you guessed it, geared towards, or it's software geared towards maid services specifically. That's what ZenMaid is for. That's their one niche market. Very similar to, again, Launch 27 as well as Bookingkoala. The main difference here is because it's geared towards maid services, a lot of the features are specifically for that target audience, which might not work well for a lot of other industries. So I think it's worth checking out. Many times if you're using employee-based crews and want a very tech-forward type of software to use, I think ZenMaid does a really good job with dealing with employee-based cleaning crews as opposed to independent contractor-based cleaning crews. So they have a pretty active online community as well. So just type in ZenMaid into Facebook, and you'll be able to see the group and interact with people on ZenMaid. So that's one I would recommend as well. The next two core pieces of software we're going to talk about are more industry agnostic. These are kind of the heavy hitters in the industry, not specifically for cleaning, although I do know a lot of people using these for cleaning, but more about just kind of generalist type software. So the next piece of software I could recommend is called Jobber. Jobber has been around for a long time. It's one of the bigger softwares in the home service game. They have a lot of features. So I've demoed Jobber, and you could create a custom booking form online. I think their scheduling tool is awesome. It's really, really good for scheduling. At the time when I interviewed them, the credit card and charging system was a little bit more manual, which I didn't like. They might have fixed that since then. The one thing I don't like about Jobber is that it is industry agnostic. It's not specific to any niche. So if I'm going to start a cleaning business, I want a cleaning business specific software system. Jobber is not that, but it is a very powerful tool which can integrate with a lot of different things, and it's more customizable than the other pieces of software. So if you're looking for something much more powerful, I think Jobber is it, and they're kind of a titan in the industry. The last core software I would recommend if you're choosing between these is called Housecall Pro. Housecall Pro has been around for a long time. They're mostly industry agnostic to home service industries. They have a really good scheduling tool, and I really like how it's highly customizable. Those are great things about the software. I believe they're like VC backed as well, so that means they have a lot of money, a lot of runway. They're developing a lot of different cool features as part of the software system. So I think Housecall Pro is fantastic for employee-based cleaning companies. I know some people using it for commercial as well, but mostly people who are using it for residential cleaning. It's one of those software systems which has been around for a long time and has done a really good job of actually keeping up with times. So Housecall Pro is another one to look into. Those are the core pieces of software. Now we're going to talk about the hubs which go from it. And this is what I think about as our can't live without software systems. These are the things which let us have businesses that run on autopilot, that allow a lot of operations to run very seamlessly. Like this is it, right? This is what gets everything going on autopilot. So the number one tool I cannot live without is Slack. Slack is a software tool. If you're not familiar with it, maybe you've come from the corporate background, it's similar to Microsoft Teams. It's a chat tool, right? So it's an online chat where you can talk to a lot of different people. The cool part about Slack is you could actually push a lot of information into Slack from different software systems. For example, we use Launch 27. Anytime there's a new booking, we could automatically push it to a closed sales channel where my team could go in there and see what's happening and comment on it. It kind of provides a lot of live feedback and a lot of people chatting back and forth, but makes things quicker, right? You can manage things much, much faster and manage it from around the world because you just log into Slack and see what's going on in your company as opposed to emails, texts, meetings, things like that. So Slack is the tool we use so much. It's what all of our franchisees use and what I would highly, highly recommend you start off with. This is similar to like Microsoft Teams or Discord if you're a gamer. Just any online chat tool which lets your team talk, that's what you need. And Slack is what I would recommend because it talks to a lot of different softwares. The other tool you need is called Zapier. Zapier is a piece of software which lets other pieces of software talk to each other. It's literally all it does. Back in the day before Zapier existed, if let's say Launch 27 wanted to talk to our email marketing system, those two companies would actually have to talk to each other and say, hey, how do we integrate our softwares together? Then Zapier came along and they said, hey, everyone just integrate with us and we're going to plug you into all these other software systems. So now with the power of Zapier, you could match two software systems and have them talk to each other. Why is this important? Because it lets you run a lot of your operations on autopilot. This is something your competitors are not doing in the local spectrum because they don't know how to use technology well. But all of a sudden, if I could submit a quote and push that information straight to my email marketing CRM, automatically email the customer a bunch of stuff, follow up with them, and then remind me if the customer doesn't book. How powerful is that? Right? That means one less body who has to manage a lot of these processes. And Zapier is a tool which allows us to manage all of our software systems in one and lets them talk to each other. So Zapier is a really, really powerful tool. It's also very simple to use. It sounds complicated when I say it over here, but it's actually a very simple to use tool. So definitely check out Zapier. The next one is an email management tool. We use one called ActiveCampaign. ActiveCampaign is a CRM to send emails and to manage our list of contacts. So for example, if someone calls us and wants a quote for their cleaning and my team will then send them a quote, what we have, we push that lead into ActiveCampaign and that automates an email to them saying, hey, here's your quote. Hey, you haven't booked yet. Hey, you haven't booked yet. And kind of puts them through an email sequence, hopefully leading up to them actually booking their job. Now with ActiveCampaign, you can also manage your list. So let's say someone goes to that sequence, they don't book, we could put them into a list which says inquiries you've never booked. And that way we can target them every single month with newsletters and promotions and kind of manage the lead that way. So this is what I call an email CRM. So a CRM specifically geared towards email marketing. Personally, I'm not married to ActiveCampaign. I think it's a good tool, good enough tool, but I think there's a lot of them that exist similar to ActiveCampaign. ActiveCampaign is one I can recommend because I know I run my remote operations with ActiveCampaign, so it works. The other piece of software we use a lot is G Suite. So G Suite is Google's suite of services, which provide things like email, Google Meets to meet with your team, Google Drive so you can share information back and forth. It provides, of course, Google Sheets, Google Docs, all of these different tools, and it's pretty cheap. I think it's like $6 to $8 per user. This is just a very easy way to get set up to make sure anyone who signs up with the company has access to all the tools they need to get going. We run our meetings through there, like our actual in-person meetings go through Google Meet. So that's a tool that we use very, very regularly. And I think the G Suite software, it's good. It's really good for what you need for remote home services. The last piece of software you need in order to run your business fully remotely and on autopilot is a VoIP system. VoIP stands for Voice over IP. This is a software system you need to actually take phone calls, right? So you don't have to rely on your cell phone. You could actually just have a call through your desktop, through your computer, and your remote team could actually take calls too. So we use a VoIP system called a DialPad for our phone system. We've tried a lot of different softwares before. We tried RingCentral, we tried Line2, we tried Grasshopper. I think a lot of different software systems. DialPad seems to be the best because it allows you to actually have group text with people, has a really easy to use interface as well. So we just like DialPad a lot. So my corporate locations, as well as all of our franchisees are currently using DialPad for the software system as well. So that's it. That's the entire tech stack for the most part that we use at MaidThis and MaidThis Franchise, and it's what allowed us to run business from anywhere in the world, what allows our franchisees to do the same. So hopefully you could use this as a case study for what software system you can use. Remember, pick your core offering and then pick the spoke models from there, but the core piece of software you're going to pick really drives a lot of your decisions and what you're going to do from there. All right, catch you next time.